Do you suffer from FOMO? Fear of missing out on your favorite sporting event when you're away from home? With 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛 VPN, you don't have to worry about streaming content over unsafe or restricted Wi-Fi to watch your favorite events. 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛 VPN allows you unlimited and secure streams to all your favorite sporting events. Don't let unsafe Wi-Fi and ISP throttling stop you from cheering on your home team or favorite athletes. Get 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛 VPN now.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the West Ham Network. Hope you're keeping safe and well as per usual. This is live, so keep your comments coming in. If you haven't already, get across to the link in the description. Also check out the QR code there for your chance to get 83% off the best VPN on the market ahead of the games coming up this weekend. It is definitely where you want to be going, so go and check out the 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛 using the link in the description for 83% off or hitting the QR code there. Keep your comments coming in, but this is the Nuno press conference and let's get cracking on that, of course. Now, he was asked first and foremost about the Newcastle win, and he said the following, and I'm going to react to this because I've not actually read the comments, and I quite like this because this gives me my natural raw attention to the presser. So he said, we had to realise we can be punished, but you have to react, and even when you concede, we had to have a really nice move with hitting the bar. The reaction to going behind was positive, and as I see it, it was the best thing that happened to us. We reacted well to adversity. And that's fine as long as we keep reacting well to adversity, because yes, it's good to react when you go down, but we've had many games this season and last season where we've never reacted when going down. And once upon a time, especially during the COVID era, when West Ham were going down against opposition, we always found that that maybe gave us the va-va-voom, the kick up the backside that allowed us to progress and move forward as a team. But over the last year, we have lost that kind of identity. But the game against Newcastle highlighted that we're capable on our day of doing that. His next question was on solutions. Has he found solutions amongst the team? He said, we competed well, but in football, the process is never over. There's a squad for us to use, and as long as they are healthy, we have solutions. Now, it's funny because you and me, probably who are watching this right now, are not 100% too sure if he is got options, really. Have we got strength and depth? Do we think we have strength and depth? But I suppose what was seen against Newcastle was utilising the bench in the right manner. You know, shutting up shop where we needed to and getting the result over the line, which is what we needed to do. And he certainly did that by utilising the squad. So I suppose there's an element of truth in that as well. And he's, you know, I like him. I like him when he talks. I do. He's actually tough to dislike. But equally, though, he gives you that vibe that if you cross a line with him, he's going to kick you up the backside. So, you know, it's a fine balance, isn't it, between someone that's likeable and someone that is willing to do the right by what West Ham is. And I do definitely feel so much better with him at the wheel, if I'm being honest with you, than what Graham Potter was. And I can't even believe I'm saying that, because back when Graham Potter came in, I had more faith and more hope over that situation. But who am I? Anyway, the next one he was speaking about was Malik Diouf, who, of course, came in from Prague and has been a breath of fresh air at West Ham. And, I think he's maybe struggled a few games before the Newcastle one, but maybe that's him coming to a head with what the Premier League brings to him. So he spoke about him as a player, and also about, if you've seen Malik Diouf put on his Instagram, about Nuno 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛 bringing in all the players' baby photos. So he spoke about that as well. And this is what he said. He said he's a beautiful player. He's so sensitive. And the way he arrived here, I think he's living a dream. He has a lot of talent, but he has things to improve. He's like a diamond you have to polish. And we have great responsibilities, but we have to enjoy what we do. And I think Malik does that. And I think that's really key that he recognises that, because not only, and that gives me more confidence in Nuno, but he recognises that he has areas he needs to improve. And for me, it's defensively. Ball up over the top. He loses his awareness of the situation. But going forward, and those whip balls going into the box, he's frighteningly good at it, and he's got so much potential to go on to big, big, big things, especially if West Ham can turn this around. So it will be interesting to see. He then addressed the baby pictures. The baby photos were a surprise for everyone from Player Care. My photo was there and it was nice, and I definitely think that's really cool to see that West Ham are bringing that element of togetherness. And I think all this stuff probably happens behind the scenes and we don't tend to see a lot of it out in the mainstream media, but the players have brought that out into the mainstream media for us to see. And maybe that's an element of going, do you know what? We are unified as a team. We are here for the fight. And we're going to show you as fans that we are a togetherness. And I think we need that. We absolutely need that at this moment in time. Now, in terms of Niclas Füllkrug, rumours are kicking about saying that he's going to be off ski in January and there could be an option there. And he was asked about Füllkrug and he said, my job is to coach. Niclas played the first 2 games. He unfortunately got injured and now he's coming back. He is an option for the team, which is how I see it. And I think it is. And I think, do you know what? Füllkrug and many strikers on the long list of strikers that have come into this club have struggled to really hit the ground running at West Ham. And I want the best for every player that signs for the club, and I feel that Füllkrug's injuries have really hampered his career at West Ham, and I don't think Füllkrug's spitting the dummy as such. I just think he sees a better pathway for him, and he's going to be at his age thinking about the Germany national squad. He needs to keep fit, but he needs to be playing games when he comes back. And maybe, I can't fault players that have that ambition, and as long as they hold their head high and give everything on the pitch for this club and don't slag off this club, then I'm all for it as well. If they need to move on and we can generate some income whilst he has some stock, whilst he is our asset and we can potentially generate some income. But this is live, so put your comments in and let me know your thoughts. And whilst I'm at it, check out @𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛, our channel sponsors for today. Freddie Potts, the man of the moment. But, lots of people are saying, calm down, pull yourself off the ceiling. I'm not getting carried away with this because this is something we've known about Freddie Potts for a long time, no matter if he's been in and out of the West Ham team. We've seen him in pre-season. We've seen him again when he was at Portsmouth. We've seen him when he was at Wycombe Wanderers. We've seen the reaction of their fans when he left. We've seen the reaction of their coaches when he left. People will turn around and say to me, but that was a different level. Well, it was a different level, but you've still got to turn up. You've still got to do a job, and you still are capable of showing us what you're capable of doing. And he did that, and he said he played really, really good. He had a fantastic match. His actions were accurate and he balanced the team in the middle of the park. He's played a lot of games on loan and he's a good option for us. We're here to help him improve. We have to realise where he came from. Though it's one game and it's in the past, now we're moving forward towards a tough test against Burnley, and I think that's really good, just to bring everyone right back down to earth. But what's really quality, and part I really enjoyed, was his actions were accurate and he balanced the team in the middle of the park. I couldn't think that's a more accurate statement I've ever heard from a West Ham coach or a West Ham manager, because he absolutely brought that. He allowed Fernandes to do the top-notch stuff that he was allowed to do. He allowed Paquetá to be that free player that we also know that he can be. And that brings me on to the next point, because he doesn't just speak about Freddie Potts. He was asked about Paquetá, and he says, I keep telling him that a number 10, and especially a Brazilian number 10, is special. And last week he put in a great performance. And for me, that all stems from the chops and changes that Nuno made in that team, allowing the freedom of Paquetá, allowing Fernandes to do the job he was going to do, because you had someone who was calm, collected, and done the basics to the highest of standards in Freddie Potts, and that gave Pac-Man that freedom, which is what we wanted. Next up, Burnley. It's a new game. So what was proven against Newcastle is dead. I love that. I love that mentality. I do actually really like that mentality, because it's about, it's dead, but you cannot drop below those standards. He says we have to give a lot, so the fans give us more. It was beautiful on Sunday, but we need them again. It's going to be a totally different match against a totally different team. Burnley have a lot of heart, and it's going to be a challenge, and they've got absolutely nothing to lose. And Burnley will always remember that time back at the London Stadium, the last time when the fan protests kicked off, and there's going to be fan protests again this weekend, and they'll be thinking, can we get West Ham in the jugular and really push them back into the under pressure again? And they'll be coming to this game. Scott Parker will know the situation, and he'll be coming at West Ham and telling those players, get at West Ham, get shots in at the goals, attack their flanks, attack their middle, and see what West Ham are capable of doing and turning up. So this will be interesting to see how we can deal with Burnley. Another question he was asked, though, was about West Ham's defence, because if you've never noticed and you didn't know, he switched Koeman and Todibo sides. He swapped them over in the central of defence, and he was asked about that, and he actually went on and said it's just a detail we believe can help our game. It's about what's best for the players and for the team, and I really appreciate that honesty, and I think it really did work well, and I think we're starting to see comfort amongst those two players. I'm not getting carried away again, because you know, for me, I'll be honest with you, the jury's out on 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛. I've been a backer of 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛, but you could also say the jury's out on 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛. But they still need to turn up and match that performance again. And we need that consistency. We need that momentum building at West Ham to try and get a result upon a result. But we need that defence to be as solid as they can be. So I like the little details that they're changing, and I can see a little bit of a mould happening. You've got wan-Bissaka, you've got Diouf, you've got 𝗖𝗖𝗔𝗖𝗛, you've got 𝗖𝗢𝗛, you've got Areola. And I kind of like that. And fingers crossed that could be a progressive way that West Ham move forward. I still think we need to look at recruits in January, and I think we need to throw money at them to deal with that. So, hey, we'll see what happens when it comes to that part. He was asked about Callum Wilson. He did a good job in a tough game. He played around 60 minutes, and his experience can continue to really help this team. If he scores on Saturday, it will be amazing. And what I really like about that comment is he didn't go unnoticed. Callum Wilson, even though he came off after 60 minutes, he did not go unnoticed. I think he bullied their defence, but in a roundabout different mannerisms. You know, maybe not a huge amount of on-the-ball football, but I felt confident every time he was making his runs, every time he was holding off the defence, every time he did gather the ball. And in actual fact, sometimes I felt like we maybe should have given him the ball a little bit more. I think what we've got in a Callum Wilson is someone that's coming to the end of their career, but they're hungry and they're feeling fit and they're fighting and raring to go. And I think when it comes to the game against Burnley, I think we'll see Callum Wilson start again, and I think we'll see good dynamics amongst that team. And I think the ball will be fed through to him a little bit more because we're at home, and he will use his strength and his determination to try and get something over the line. And that is a reasonable positive for us. And you know what? When we signed Callum Wilson, lots of fans were totally head against it. And now suddenly, bang, we're kind of like, let's go for it, if that makes any sense. But last but not least, he was asked about Scott Parker. And he said, I have huge respect for Scott. I've known him for a long time. He's someone I really admire. And that's someone I really admire. You know, he's a West Ham. I thought he was great when he was at West Ham and brought a lot of everything that we need in the middle of that park and everything we're crying out for now in the middle of the park. So he gets West Ham, but he'll understand how to get West Ham's jugular, and I think he will be going for that jugular 100%. So we just need to stay as positive as we can going into this game, because I do think that if the West Ham we want to turn up, then they will. And we can turn teams over. Only a few comments to just jump through quickly. We have to give Nuno money for the January transfer window to buy a striker, box-to-box midfielder and a centre-back, and we'll get out relegation next season, European football, from 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛. I think parts of that are definitely right. You know, listen, I think it's going to be totally tough. Totally tough to find a striker because there's so many clubs out there looking for strikers. So I don't think it's going to be such an easy task, if I'm being honest with you. But momentum is key. And building a result upon a result is what I'm looking for. Huge one is saying, yes, it was good to see our reaction to going behind, but surely the plan should not to be go 1-0 down. No, it should not be. Absolutely not. But I think what it does show you is that you don't just fold over, collapse and give up. And that's the West Ham that we've seen against Brentford. That's the West Ham we've seen against Leeds. That's the West Ham we've seen most of this season. So I think it's a reasonable positive. West Ham Faithful says, do you think the way he spoke about Potts, etc., he might not start on Saturday, just the way he spoke about it? I don't know, no, and I don't think so. You know, they always go by a saying of saying, do you not play the same team that won the game? Like, you never drop anyone from a winning team. And I do believe in that to a certain extent, but I think what he's saying is he's probably trying to pull some West Ham fans from down the roof, from the ceiling. And for me, you know, I put a video out the next day, and it was like the man, the myth, the future. And some people in the comments were going, oh, don't get carried away, don't get carried away. And it wasn't about getting carried away. It was about the performance, and it's about the future of West Ham. And I do think he is a future of West Ham. I really do. I think we all know that he is capable of being a long-term potential legend at this club. He's got the makings of it. He really, really does. And I think he highlighted that against Burnley, and I think he's highlighted that on some of the kind of occasions when he's came on the park, but it done him the world of good to actually start. Absolutely love Nuno's press conference, so engaging and warm. 100% agree with that. John Hicks says, we're staying up, calling you irons. There's no way you can not start Potts on Saturday. From Mark Hobbies, agree with you 100%. And the last comment I'll read out, I wonder if you hadn't gone down so quickly, would we have played differently? I don't know. I really don't know, to be honest with you. But let's remember the goal going down the way, the mannerism we did. We hit the post, and I remember watching the game and thinking it just went such against the run of play. So, I don't know. It felt like the fire and determination was there from the start. I just hope it was. Anyway, that brings an end to the Nuno pre-match press conference. Go and check out 𝗖𝗢𝗔𝗖𝗛 ahead of the matches this weekend. 83% off as well. So get across there, check it out, and thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Please leave a comment, and come on, you Irons! Irons!